To start off our cryptids list, we're going to go with the most famous cryptid of all, Bigfoot. Bigfoot is basically more known for what? North Pacific Northwest
area,
type of area.
Oregon, Washington for sure.
Yeah.
Bits of California, because I mean that's where the Patterson film was taken or shot.
Oh,
Right.
okay, I got it backwards. I don't know why I was.
It was in
thinking
Bluff Creek, California, in 1967. The famous Bigfoot footage of him.
And I'm not sure. And I've actually,
walking.
and I'm a poor scholar of Bigfoot because I've never looked to see where Bluff Creek actually is, apart from like the History Channel stuff that would like just show you a map of where it is, but I don't remember where exactly along. So I'm not sure if it's Northern California. What was that place called again?
It's Bluff Creek, California.
Bluff Creek.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention, as far as that video goes, that I know you guys have seen it. I sent you a link to it not too long ago, but someone recently stabilized the video of it walking, and if anyone's listening hasn't seen that, go look for it. That shit, I love stabilization technology that they use.
We'll put the link to that in the description for the episode,
because it just it makes everything so much easier to fucking see. And like, it was a cool video because they played it in they played it and then they played it in reverse, and then so you could see a lot of little interesting details. Like the bottom of the creature's foot, you could almost see some of its toes as it lifts its leg, kind of stuff. There's just it was just really interesting. So if anyone who's listening hasn't seen that, go check it out, go find it.
But surprisingly, in 1967, someone had a camera with them while they were out there hunting and stuff.
Dude, and looking at Bluff Creek, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Were they filming the whole time? How much footage did they have?
Like how?
Yeah, dude, because I mean, wasn't it
was like
tape
an 8mm,
like crazy expensive?
But it's one of those 8mm like real like type of those small cameras.
Yeah. But wasn't that film fucking like really like cost prohibitive?
I imagine
for hobbyists back then?
Most film was expensive back in the day. Yeah.
And still was, like, even into the 90s. That's why they made disposables. You throw those at the kids when you go on vacation. Then you use your nice, one for the shots you want to actually keep.
There's been many episodes on TV or podcasts probably that have tried to either analyze and debunk or try to confirm this particular video and the authenticity of this particular Bigfoot footage. But we're not going to get into that. What we are going to do is get into sightings around Texas and exactly where you would find Bigfoot or the sightings most popular in Texas that they would be. So some big names, of course, there would be, it's Austin, maybe like in the outskirts, not in the city, obviously. San Antonio area, El Paso, East Texas, and basically the areas where, I mean, there's like even desert prairies and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that was one thing that kind of like tripped me out about in the Red Fern and Gerhard book, where there's been a handful of sightings out in West Texas where you don't have the piney woods or
they can be hidden.
Any of that. Yeah.
No, that's the fucking desert, basically.
So like that's a trip, and East Texas has way less sightings than I thought they would. Yeah, there's swamps. There's also the piney woods all out there. Mm-hmm. But when I looked at that Bigfoot sightings in Texas map itself and looked at the distribution from county to county, it was kind of crazy to see how few there were overall, like in areas where, like, I lived briefly where people, just random people talk about how there were apparently Bigfoot sightings, like, right near this movie theater because there's like a little stand of woods there, and I was like, jeez. Cool. But then when I actually looked at Jefferson County, it was like, no. There's like 2, and I think the earliest or the most recent one was like 2004 or something like that.
In the book says that 2009 was the most recent sighting, according to the book itself. But looking at the map here, the most recent sightings,
I think I saw some hits for 2013. I think. Oh, actually, I think I saw a 2018 on there.
Well, actually, in Marion County, Marion County, 2000. Oh, I'm just seeing it right here.
There's a 2019 in Cass County.
Oh, there's number of sightings in Marion County, 2021. So that's fairly recent.
That's
last year. 2020 in Parker County, 2020, there were 8 sightings.
Hunt County, 2020, there were 4.
Class B, Class A. What does that define exactly? Just the type of footage they had, or
well,
something?
it says a Class B possible sighting of by motorists in daylight between the lake, the Pines, or city.
Oh no! But Roland was trying to figure out, and I just looking at that now as far as what's considered a Class A versus Class B.
Well,
Class B
I'm
like,
looking at the top here.
Smells like Bigfoot's butthole.
Do y'all see that?
No, yeah, I'm looking at it, but I'm just not sure what a Class A event versus Class B is.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure there's a legend or anything that I was
just going through the motions here.
The unfortunate thing about Bigfoot, at least according to this, is that it's not anywhere in the valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I guess it's.
I mean, you could be hanging out in all the little like palm trees stands and chilling.
We just gotta worry about
sit by a sable.
He's hiding out in Mr. G's or Rospa stands, or the fucking the fireworks stand as well.
Yeah, that's where that's what happens with them when the fireworks stands are closed. When they're shuttered up, they're fucking teeming with big feet.
Oh yeah. If you break in, they got their own little stove in there and shit like that. You know, it's like a tiny house for a Bigfoot.
Yeah, and they're sitting all pretty, going like, "Ha, we don't have to, waste energy making the what the hell do they call those structures? The Bigfoot houses or whatever that may be
like teepees,
shelters or like, markers. Yeah, Bigfoot teepees. I think is what they're called.
Oh no, really? I did not.
Yeah. You know what we're talking about, right? Roll where they have like the stands of trees that have been like bent over each other and make like a little like frame.
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like
they are. I like watching a lot of bushcraft videos like that because they'll take a guy with a little knife and a hammer and he just goes out there. Oh, cool. You want to have a house on a raised platform? Sure, right now. But to think that Sasquatch is out there farting through it. I'm not too big on Bigfoot. I know a lot of the basics, but to me it's never necessarily been too particularly interesting as far as.
I think for you it's been like overdone. Like you said, they have research centers now, but the minute they start having gift stores or for like these particular cryptids where they sell like mock foot imprints or Bigfoot backpacks, Bigfoot cups.
I mean, mostly just I hear about it and I get the urge to go watch fucking John Lithgow and
Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
So I don't even give a shit. Like all that stuff's cool, man. Like I would totally, get like a replica plaster.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Foot imprint and just put it on a wall. Like,
yeah,
fucking cool.
It's fun, I mean, they do that with like the Roswell and they do that in Roswell, New Mexico. Like,
yeah, and actually, it's fucking cool because they have like the cutout metal, like like yard art or whatever. Like going on 77 up to Houston, there's around what is that little shitty Driscoll, which is a little bit south of Kingsville. They've got it's been there forever, but they've got like all those yard, metal dudes and have like the little pinwheels out of metal that look cool.
Right.
But they've got some fucking Sasquatch cutouts like there, and it's fucking cool. Yeah,
that's cool.
As we were driving up and down. Seeing my folks and like oh fuck, oh there's a Bigfoot one, fuck, cool. Like
just going over the characteristics of a Bigfoot, majority of the time they stand between 6 to 9 feet tall, according to just eyewitness reports. Hairy body, obviously typical head to toe, just covered in hair. Brown, some are white. Sometimes they're considered a Yeti, but just depending on the geographic location that they're in.
They have the red eyes, apparently, right?
Some do.
And some of them are reported as having
red
eyes, right. And they also have that. Supposedly, they have that reflective film, or not film, layer that like cats have.
Oh, for like night vision shit.
Yeah, so that you see, whenever most people have seen these things. Wherever they shine a light at certain animals, their eyes seem like they're glowing, and so apparently, supposedly, they have that same
property.
Right, yeah, defining feature. I think there was a YouTube or a Reddit video somebody put out recently of a security cam that had supposedly caught either what could have been some sort of cryptid or possibly explained as Sasquatch, something around 10. They estimated it to be about 10 feet or so tall, and you can sort of see what might be ahead, peeking through some I don't know if you guys have seen it, but peeking through some of the foliage or whatever, but then you also see the jewel eye, the flashing eyes kind of thing. So
the red eyes can be attributed to like lots of particular cryptids.
Rabies.
Most notably, I think it was like the Mothman. That's like one of the big characteristics of the Mothman. Whenever they see him at night, they can still see the red eyes and stuff like that.
The glowing.
Right. But we'll get to something similar to that in just a moment.
What about the Sas stank or whatever?
Sasquatches are supposed to fucking stink. And
was it one of the names from was a stink monkey or I think some such that some residents of Sasquatch sightings nicknamed him.
But on the subject, I mean, I've related this story to you guys, but the Texas Cryptid Hunter, who's got a blog, and I'm not sure if he's got a podcast or whatever.
I think so.
I think you follow him on social media, like on Twitter, Roll, you said?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I had his YouTube channel or something on his website up. He's got a blog.
Yeah, but on his blog, he has a story that apparently Davy Crockett saw at Bigfoot when he was coming to Texas.
That's right.
And somewhere in East Texas, like in the swampiness, he encountered a being, but it was more like a kind of more of a typical, like almost UFO-y or like a spirit kind of event, because I think if I remember the story correctly, like Bigfoot disappeared somehow, like he like kind of turned into mist or like faded into the mist or something like that, like something kind of spooky or whatever.
Okay.
And apparently he was sentient enough to like communicate with Davy Crockett, but I can't remember what was allegedly said. But
today in Bigfoot history, 1836, Nacogdoches, Texas, Davy Crockett and the Bigfoot's prophecy. In a letter addressed to Abner Bergen, Davy Crockett recounted the following tale. William and I were pushing through some thicket, clearing the way, when I sat down to mop my brow. I sat for a spell. Watching as William made his good and fine progress, I removed my boots and sat with my rations, thinking the afternoon a fine time to lunch. As the birds whistled and chirped, and I ate my small meager ration, I tapped my axe upon the opposite end of a failed tree I rested upon. Whether it was the axe's disturbance or possibly the heat of the high sun which caused an apparition to slowly form in front of my eyes, I know not. As a Christian man, I swear to you, Abe, that what spirit came upon me was the shape and shade of a large ape-man, the likes we might expect among more bellicose and hostile Indian tribes of the territories. The shade formed into the most deformed and ugly countenance, covered in wild hair with small and needling eyes, large broken rows of teeth, and the height of 3 foundlings. I spit upon the ground the bread I was eating. The monster then addressed a warning to me. Abner, it told me to return from Texas, to flee this fort, and to abandon this lost cause. When I began to question this, the creature spread upon the wind like the morning steam swirls off a frog pond. I swear to you, Abner, that whatever meat or sausage disagreed with me that afternoon, I forswore all beef and hog for a day or so afterward. We all know what happened at the Alamo. Most Crockett scholars ignore this passage as a silly story told to entertain his friend in a personal letter, though some Bigfoot scholars remain convinced that the creature reached out and tried to save the frontiersman the horrible fate that was soon to befall him.
I'm not sure if that trumps the 1875. I'm not sure what year this was supposed to go down, but
well, there in 1975 there was a report of a feral boy being captured. So I mean, you could take that for what you will.
Was this boy 7 feet tall?
They don't say.
Government cover-up, huh?
They think he would be 7 feet tall. Like,
you go, when he was fully grown, he'd be 7 feet
when he's
tall.
full grown, he's going to be fucking
be a big boy.
enormous.
I do want to go over some of the little instances here in the book that they talk about from the eyewitness accounts. For instance, there was an incident in San Antonio with a man named John Martinez and his friend Rick were rabbit hunting during November 1974, and they reported seeing a 6 or 7 foot tall creature with long matted hair on its head, and their dog even snarled at the menacing monster. I mean, dogs get pissed off at things all the time.
Yeah, seems to be always the thing.
And there's another instance where, let me see here. It was Dr. Grover Krantz in 1975.
Guy's a legend.
Yeah, described a sighting which took place 30 miles north of San Antonio at a private lake. The letter writer explained, he received a letter talking about this incident. So the letter writer explained how the eyewitness had been fishing at a small secluded body of water on a 20,000-acre property when he had heard a loud splash. And gazing across the water, the man observed a large gray figure standing on top of a 150-foot limestone cliff opposite of him. And he seemed to be about 8 to 9 feet tall. Can someone properly gauge something that high and then gauging how tall that person is from 150 feet above them?
I mean, it depends what their baseline is, you know.
Right.
Do they know how tall those trees are about and they could scale from there? Exactly. Or do they see a fence post so they go, oh, that's a 6-foot fence post?
You know, Bigfoot seems to be like just a menacing character that stands far away from people and kind of just looks at them from afar and then kind of like tries to instill fear just by looking at people and then kind of just walks away.
It seems like a lot of cryptids do that, though.
Yeah.
But, I think I remember reading one account of a Bigfoot trying to take someone's dog.
Yeah, I mean, that's some things like that have happened, like where they've mangled like cats and dogs and stuff like that.
And I know on, I think Phantoms and one of the sites here we got, 40 Research, Phantoms and Monsters. Yeah, there's a few accounts of people, or this one woman that would talk about actually being abducted by a family of them, and she got very specific. I was a woman in her
I think
60s.
I saw that.
So she was in her 60s and she was describing an event that happened to her as a child, and apparently she still has like trauma from that, and so she's only starting to piece it all together and talk about it. But yeah, it's an interesting little account. I'd need to look through it here, but she described, and she wouldn't give the exact location because they didn't want people going through there and just looking and making a big mess. It's near private. It's near private area, but also, I mean, obviously there was a town in the vicinity. They would every night, or every so often. This happened to her several times. She would wake up in the cave, those kinds of things, or she would, they would come to her house, and she had a room on the second floor for a time, and it would knock on her window looking for her, that kind of thing. And the family would, it's fucking interesting. If anyone listening hasn't looked for it, go to the website. This guy posts a lot of things on Reddit, but he's apparently been doing this for quite some time. The site owner, the guy who runs things, his name is Lon Strickler. I don't know anything about him personally. I don't, if there's any kind of controversy surrounding him, I'd need to look it up. But from what I'd seen of this site the past few months, like it seems on the pretty up and up. And I was talking to you about it the other night, Ray, and the first thing that I mentioned as far as like showing its kind of legitimacy is that it looks like it was made in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Right.
So
yeah.
It's one of those old like blog / like GeoCities, Angel Fire fucking websites. And so that immediately gets my attention. I'm like, okay, cool. So it's been around for a while. Awesome.
So again, this is another instance, I believe, in San Antonio or Kelly Air Force Base. Is that in San Antonio or was in San Antonio?
I believe it's shut down now.
Yeah, it was in San Antonio. Yes. No, it's
yeah.
actually shut down. And
really?
Yes, it was in San Antonio. There was a gentleman named Ed Olivari, and he saw, I guess, at a 40-yard distance, he watched in disbelief as a 7-foot tall brown hairy creature stood up on 2 legs and ran off like a man into close by the woods. I don't know. That's a weird way of wording that. But he said he was unsurprisingly hesitant to tell anyone about it, what he had seen. He told his mother. He basically told everyone.
When was this again?
Sorry, 1976.
Oh, okay.
That was in 1976.
Because this sounds like something from the 70s.
It happened again. He saw At around 2 a.m., he saw another figure with green glowing eyes standing by a doghouse in his yard. And at first, he paid no notice to the mystery visitor, but later, as Ed lay in bed, it occurred to him that the figure had been far too tall to be a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure. I mean...
And throughout the night, following that particular evening, there was nights where dogs were howling and stuff like that. And cats were hanging out on the roofs as opposed to just hanging out on the ground. So apparently there were many cats sitting on the roof when a lot of this shit was happening. One more, August 30th. I'm assuming it was the same year. Rose Medina was awoken by her dog barking around 3 a.m, which is also a very bewitching hour time. And saw a furry light brown colored animal sitting on her back step. And basically, she said it looked ape-like and the size of a 9-year-old child. There was a few more instances with that particular, with Rose Medina and Ed Olivares. But again, you want to read more about that, you can check out the book, Monsters of Texas.
Yeah, it's a really short read, actually. I think I blasted through most of it in the afternoon, and that's because I was spending time with it, thinking about it, doing shit in between, because I mean, it's only like, I was actually surprised for a Redfern book to be that brief, because I think it was only like 40 pages total.
If you're going to just read the actual text itself, it's about 127 pages. One of the last reports that they do give was in 2009. It happened in San Antonio near the intersection of Loop 1604 and Highway 151 near the SeaWorld and next the water treatment facility.
Dude, I had to drive past SeaWorld or near. Actually, SeaWorld was near me. It was a little bit past where I was living at the last house. So that was like within a few fucking miles of me as well. And damn it, if I'd only known this shit.
Yeah, the particular creature left imprints that were like 13 inches long, I guess, with their foot imprint. But there was some speculation that it was an escaped monkey from the Southwest Research Facility. It's a giant monkey, man.
Right.
Giant monkey, man.
It's a giant monkey, man. So that is a very brief introduction to Bigfoot in Texas.
Blue midgets come into my house. Hey, it's ridiculous. I had some kind of a rectal probe. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.